Alright everyone, welcome back to Genshin. We're in version 5.5 now, and we are now introduced to the Collective of Plenty, and of course, Iansan, but more importantly, in relation to today's guide, is Varesa. And this is how you get to the boss, by the way. And once you get down to this little hole, you might find some rocks blocking your way. Just get to this little rhino thing, and just bash through it with E, or whatever your skill is. And from there, you just jump down, and you're pretty much free to go, because there's a teleporter here for you that allows you to quickly teleport back here, in case if you need to fight the boss again. Alrighty, so, with this boss, I'm happy to report that unlike the other boss, which forces a paid mechanic, this boss quite literally is just brute force the boss until it gives you a DPS phase. And it actually has no clickbait. You can see here in the guide that it gives you, the lava dragon statue, you can use pyro attack to cause it to enter the molten dragon form, which is this picture on the right. And then if you continue to use it, it'll enter an overburn state, which basically means DPS phase. I'm not sure why they didn't just tell you, but I guess, that spoils the surprise. And there's also 0 point to doing the whole cool it down and reverting back to geohuman form, because arguably the first phase is actually harder than the second phase. In the first phase, with this bowl volcano looking ass, it has 5 attacks, 3 of which last a long time and also can jump towards you and slam, which you'll need to dodge more often. The second phase here, with the molten dragon form, is actually just 3 attacks. We have a laser beam, we have a ground pound, and we also have a rushing at you attack. And that's quite literally it. And with the unit choice, it's actually very simple as well. Just bring anyone with pyro, and if you like the reaction burning, then this boss is made for you, because burning accelerates the process in which you can get your DPS phase. So here, I'm going to show off my units. We'll bring Kale, my wife, Noelle, and Xiangling. And Kale is actually free, if you didn't know. You get her from Spiral Abyss. And I'll give her a stringless, but to be honest, she's not even here doing damage. She's just here to help with the burning. Deepwood here. We've got Amber. She's using a slingshot, along with Noblesse Oblige. We have Noelle, who is running a white blind, along with Gladiator's Finale. And last but not least, we have Xiangling in a very inappropriate outfit for this particular nation, using the Titan Cross Spear and Emblem of Severed Fate. And keep in mind, even though I have all these 5-star artifacts, I am more level 8, so the boss isn't going to just topple over in 2 hits. So I think this is a good balance between difficulty, health of the boss, and how well my units can be built. So, without any further ado, let's begin. And like I said earlier, I think the first phase is harder than the second phase, because the first phase has 5 attacks, and a lot of them just leap towards you and require you to dodge. I'll show you what I mean by the second phase, but you can see in the first phase, when I just start the fight, there's like this gauge here, and he'll almost always start the fight by pounding the floor, and then jumping towards you like this. You gotta dodge. It's a bit of a delay on there, so don't dodge too early, otherwise he'll eat shit. And then after that, he'll spin towards you like this. Run away. Because the key word in this fight is just distance. If you keep your distance and you just launch attacks with him with bow characters, more or less, if you don't want to just abuse shields, which, you may or may not want to do, it'll make your life a lot easier. That fireball attack is what happens when you get too far like this. But around this time, he'll spin towards you, and then he'll pour lava on you. Around this distance. But it's a little random from what I've seen. I think it's this attack. Nope, never mind. In the meantime, let me show what happens when you shoot it with fire. So you can see here, it kind of builds up the gauge up there. And what's nice is that you can actually accelerate this process with burning. And because pyro lasts for so long on him, just keep applying Dendro. And by the way, those 2 attacks you saw there, where he swiped at me and then poured the lava out of his head, and then just randomly swiped at me, those last 2 attacks were quite literally the last of the lineup for all the attacks he can do in this fight, in the first phase at least. Yeah. So again, just keep your distance, and then keep applying the fire to him, and then he'll enter the second phase here, where he actually becomes a dragon, so no clickbait. And so the first attack he'll probably do is charge at you with his breastplate looking things. And as long as you have kept your distance a little bit, you should be able to just sprint out of it, if not just walk out of it. The second attack he'll do is that he'll spin around in a massive laser move like this, and all these moves are very easily telegraphed. So the third one is if you get too close, which I'll showcase in a little bit, but it gives you ample time to see what he's about to do, and you can just act accordingly. So if you're really close to him, he'll ground pound twice like this, 1, 2, and then he'll summon a massive ring of fire. But all this really does is give me another avenue of shooting him and accelerating the burning process. And that's quite literally all the moves he'll do in this fight, which is actually pretty sick. Like, there's no weird gimmicks, there's no freezing required, or, ooh, you got me, ooh, seductive, look, you got me, I'm naughty, you're so mean. You literally just dodge him, run out of his attacks that are very easily choreographed. And what's nice is that you can actually interrupt his attacks, which you saw right there. I was doing damage to him while he was in the middle of an attack, and this can be easily done with Guoba as well. So I'm going to continue shooting him, and let me see if I can get the trigger again. I don't know if there's a cooldown for it, but you can tell when the white numbers pop up and then he ends up getting a little bit stunned. That's basically when you know you've pulled it off. But anyway, I'm gonna give him my DPS phase here. He'll do a lot more. Well, I'll do a lot more damage to him now because his resistance is actually very, very low. Because the boss has a resistance to all elements until you down him, which is par for the course, and it lasts for about 15 seconds. So Noelle actually can get all 4 of her normal attacks before her Geo infusion goes away. And he stays down on the floor for about 15 to 20 seconds, which is very gracious. Like, Noelle is still carving at him with her elemental burst, and he's still done. And from there, you just rinse and repeat. And it's quite literally as simple as it looks. Just keep your distance a little bit, don't get greedy, because if you get greedy, you'll get punched in the ass. And then you don't want that to happen, because, you know, getting hit in your ass is not very good. And then using Amber's elemental burst will speed this process immensely. And he'll pound the floor twice, and then I'll just burn him to death. And I'll just get a little cheeky here. There we go. And this should be the end of the boss. Oh. There we go. Didn't you have to use Noelle for that? So it's, again, very simple. 5 attacks in the first phase, 3 attacks in the second phase, and you can interrupt the attacks in the second phase and do more damage. So no matter how you really cut it, as long as you don't try to just run up against it and be like, unless if you have a shielder, I guess, which most people do. But I noticed that it kind of shreds through your shields if it happens to catch you in one of those long, like, winding attacks. So just be aware of that. But for the most part, it's really straightforward, really easy to fight, and you can do this very, very easily with pretty much anyone in your inventory. Just bring 1 DPS, I guess, if you really need to, and you can abuse the mechanics with pretty much anyone else that can apply Pyro or Dendro. So, with that being said, I hope this guide was helpful to you, and don't forget to check out Sunway's guide on the top right as well, because both of us brainstormed this boss in like 5 minutes. Yeah. Anyway, happy 5.5 everybody, and good luck with your pulls, whether it be for Xinyun or Varesa, and I'll catch you next guide.